Hey everybody, okay, so as promised a couple days ago, I am gonna do the video on I think it's EVE Academy 402 now, and that's gonna be on your shield equipment. This is I'm not so into shields as I am armor, but I think I understand it just as well, so we should be okay. Overheating, nanite paste, I didn't cover cap boosters, I'm not going to do that in this video either. There's something else I did as well. I think there's like meta levels and all that stuff. That was all covered in 401. So if you hear me say meta level this, or dead space, or something that you just don't know and it sounds like it has to do with items like this, check out that video. It might cover it in the first few minutes of it. I didn't really bullet point it, but I kind of went over it as the video went on. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to start with shield boosters. I did medium size on the past video, so I'm going to do medium size on this again. As I also did in the last video, we are going to be doing it on the Basic Tech 1 module. So, okay, here we have the medium shield booster. So what this does is it's like an armor repper, except it's like a shield repper, but it's not really a repper, it's a booster. And the main difference between an armor repper and a shield booster is, well, the shield bonus amount. I think, don't quote me on this because I'm not exactly sure. I could probably check, but I don't feel like doing it right now. But actually, screw it. I'm going to do it anyways, just to make sure you guys have all the right info. I'm just going to make sure that this lines up with what I'm going to say. And yes. Okay, so a shield booster is, like I said, it's basically the same thing as an armor repper, except it's for shields. The main thing that you got to watch out for on a shield booster is it tends to use a lot more capacitor. You saw on the other module, this uses 160 gigajoules for every 12 seconds. This one uses 60 gigajoules for every 3 seconds. And while the rep amount is also lower, the rep amount is more so on a armor repper. A shield booster will always repair on the beginning of a cycle. As soon as you activate it, it's going to give you the repair. An armor repair will give it on the back end of a cycle. So the cycle has to complete before you get your armor reps. With that said, these things tend to be a lot more cap reliant. I'm not sure if that's the right word. I think it is, but yeah, there is that. So just be careful. But the reason that they are so cap reliant is because shields recharge passively over time. Every ship has it, even if it's an armor tank ship. Shield tank ships will tend to have a little bit of a better recharge rate though, so just keep that in mind. Okay, for fittings, it's 50 CPU and 12 power grid, and of course that gets better as you go up to meta level 4, then I think it's a little bit heavier on Tech 2. Prerequisites is your shield operations 1. This is the same thing that you'll get from like the Minmatar and Caldari tutorial agents, or whatever they are. They'll give you like a civilian shield booster or something that's like a small size, but those things are crap. As soon as you can, get yourself like a shield booster 1. Same thing goes for the armor reppers. Variations, there are faction, dead space, and there are no officer modules. Description expends energy to provide a quick boost in shield strength. Exactly what it says it does. Okay, so I mentioned recharge rates, so let's go over that a little bit. Shield rechargers, the most basic ones that you can possibly think of. You can see it right here, improves the recharge rate of the shield. And it's sort of like already having a shield booster, except it does it passively, and it gives you 10% more recharge. So if you stack like 2 or 3 these things on there, yeah, that's 3 mid slots that you got to use away from your tank, but that's 30% more recharge. So that makes a difference, especially when you're doing a dedicated passive fit, which is commonly done on Drakes, which is a Caldari battlecruiser. You hear about passive Drakes a lot. As far as fitting goes on this one, it's a little bit easier to fit. 25 and 1, there's no capacitor draw. There's no real drawback to it. Prerequisites, level 2 engineering, and level 3 shield upgrades. And variations only has the Tech 2. It's very plain and fairly reliable and straightforward. Okay, here's the other ones that you can talk about a little bit. Okay, the power relays, shield power relays, diverts power from the capacitors to the shields, thereby increasing the shield recharge rate. these are kind of, you gotta be careful with these, because if you have like active guns that use up a lot of cap like lasers do, or sometimes hybrids depending on how your fit is, this is not going to help you a whole lot, because yeah, it gives you 20% more shield recharge, but then again it takes away 35% of your recharge rate of your capacitor. That's going to hurt really bad. So just be careful with that. Very useful in the right situation, but here's the one I prefer to use if I have to use these. The shield flux coils increases shield recharge rate while lowering the maximum shield capacity. So what this is going to do is, yeah, it's going to hit your shield HP a little bit, but the shield recharge rate goes up by 25% on the basic Tech 1. So I don't know what this one does on the Tech 2. Oh, 30% more recharge. Okay, that's kind of cool. You can probably understand why I'd rather do this. I can probably take a 15% hit on my shields if I'm, going for that passive recharge. And passive recharging is you got to get used to it, because your recharge peaks out at about 30% shields. That's when your recharge is your max. So 30% shields is like your max tank. So you got to kind of used to that. And then as soon as you start to dip below like 25% and stuff, you got to start watching out and either take the DPS off of you, or you just kind of got a GTFO. Okay, fitting, the 20 CPU, no power grid need, that's kind of nice. Prerequisites, you can see there. And variations, same thing, just Tech 2. Okay, and what goes hand in hand with a tank of any sort are your resistances. Let's start off with the passive ones, and we'll go to active. Okay, so here you have all the passive ones. Unlike your shields, the passive, your armor, the passive version does not have a general, we're going to give everything a boost type thing. It has very specific ones. EM, which is I did last time, so let's do that again. Okay, so it gives you a 32.5% bonus to your EM resistance. And that's going to be the same number for all the rest of them too. 25 and 1 on your draw. Prerequisites are fairly easy, you can see them there. And variations. They do have a bunch of different variations. Tech 2, storyline, which they're questionably good, in my opinion. I don't ever use them. Faction, which can be a little bit pricey. Officer, which you should only use on like super capitals, because they are going to be extremely pricey. And your Dead Space. So in order of price, it goes Tech 1, Tech 2, Faction, storyline are pretty much the same price normally. Dead Space, then Officer. And then as for your active hardeners, this is the one that has the general do everything kind of thing. A very, very commonly used module. It gives a 25% bonus across the board to your I can't talk. Resistance. Sorry, forgot what I was talking about. Okay, so 25% across the board. Activation time is 10 seconds long. 40 gigajoules per activation cost, so it's a draw, but it's the type of draw that's worth it. That's like one of your main cap draws on a shield tank, just because this item is so good for what it does. Fitting, 40 and 1, so it's heavy on the CPU, just be careful in fitting. Prerequisites, tactical shield manipulation. Make sure you guys get that, because that's a good one to get. Okay, and variations, Tech 1, Tech 2, storyline, faction, and same thing as the last one. Okay, so let's go to the EM specific. Okay, so you can see the EM resistance is a lot higher at 50%. That's a very, very nice, hefty bonus. The activation time is again 10 seconds, and the activation cost is half of that of the adaptive shield hardeners. So it's easier to just do a specific tank on your ship if you know what you're going up against. Like in missions, you can go to a website like EVE Survival. You can just go to the website and you go to missions, and then it's a whole readout of missions and exactly what to expect. It's pretty reliable. It's never 100% spot on for everything, but it's very, very, very good. People tend to keep it very updated. If you need that website, either Google it, which would be preferred, or you can jump in the channel and ask me. I'll quickly give you a link if I'm active. Okay, so with the hardeners done, let's go to shield extenders. These are like having armor plates for your shields. Instead of like armor plates will slow you down and take away from agility, the thing with shield extenders is that they will give you an increased signature, which that means you're basically a bigger target, which makes you easier to hit, especially for missiles. So just keep that in mind. Typically, I don't really worry about my signature because I'd rather have a lot more tank, but maybe I'm just naive and I just don't worry about that like I should. Okay, so increases the maximum strength of the shields. That's plainly obvious. The medium version does 750 HP with a signature bonus, or a signature radius increase of 7 meters, which on a small ship that makes a difference. Like if you put this medium shield extender on like a Rifter or a Thrasher, or, well, I'm sorry, a frigate and a destroyer, for those of you who just don't know, it's going to make a little bit of an impact, but on like your bigger ships like a cruiser, this isn't going to make that big of a deal. The thing with medium shield items though, or I'm sorry, any shield items, you got to kind of look at the size and then go oversized. For like if you have like a Rifter, I'm sorry, I keep saying Rifter, a frigate or a destroyer, you kind of want to go for a medium, even though it's technically a small class ship. You don't really want to put on like a single medium shield extender, and the same thing goes for like a cruiser. Cruiser kind of goes in between. Battle cruisers tend to go large, and then obviously battleship's going to go large because there's nothing else to go to. Okay, so there's that. Fitting 30 and 28, so it's not too bad. A little bit heavy on the power grid, but that's not too bad. Prerequisites is shield upgrades 1. That's not bad either. There are only faction versions of this. Let's see what else. Okay, so we did all of these except for shield transporter. Okay, much like the remote armor repairers, which I accidentally called remote, I think it, no, that was the hull ones. I called them hull upgrades when I meant to say repairs, so forgive me on that last one. I think I put a YouTube edit in there. So these are much like the remote armor repairers. They repair shields, again, like the normal armor repair and shield repair. These start at the beginning of your cycle instead of repairing at the end of the cycle like the remote armor reps will do. So people tend to prefer this, especially for incursions, because it's more in just right there. As soon as you click the button, people are getting reps instead of kind of, you know, getting ahead of yourself and kind of leading it a little bit with the armor. So medium tech 1, there we go. Okay, so again, shield bonus is actually more. Duration is a little bit longer. Activation cost is a lot heavier. So these are probably a little bit tough to use, especially on a ship that doesn't get a bonus. Ships that get a bonus are the Scythe, the Scythe and the Osprey. They are the Tech 1 logistics ships. Scythe is Mimitar, and the Osprey is Caldari. The Caldari one, which is the Osprey, just to clarify, that is the ship that requires you to be kind of teaming up with another one for cap transfers, which I'll explain when I get to the cap stuff, which will probably be the next video. It's either going to be turrets or cap, I think. Who knows? I'll surprise myself. So there's that. Description: transfers shield power over to the target ship, aiding in its defense. I think that's a pretty fair description. Not too vague. Fitting 36 and 40. Again, these take a high slot like the other remote repairers. Prerequisites: shield emission systems 1. So if you get shield emission systems to 1, you actually have a lot of access to these shield modules. So that's probably a really good skill to get if you haven't picked that up already. And variations: just dead space. There are not any faction modules, which I think is a little bit weird, but I think I already knew that in the back of my head. So other than that, I don't think there's any real modules that affect shields. I will say shield tanking and go fast ships tend to go hand in hand. What else is there? I'm going to do this one item just because I think it's worth doing. And I think it is, yes, it is this one. Power diagnostic systems on the engineering equipment section. And I'll probably go over this again just to clarify because that'll be more dedicated to this. But this affects your shields. you can look right here. Typically this is used to boost your power grid, but if you don't need a little bit, or if you only need a little bit, you can actually use this. This is a overall good module to have, especially if you're a shield tanker, because it gives you a 7.5 recharge rate bonus to your shields, which I believe that's passive. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but last I checked, that is passive. That is not for your active booster. It also gives you a 4 HP increase, or 4% HP bonus to your shields. 7.5% recharge rate bonus, which is not just awesome. Another 4% cap bonus, that's your actual capacitor amount bonus. That's also significantly good. I'll probably go over capacitor in this engineering equipment section because that just kind of involves everything capacitor and power grid. And obviously the 5% to power grid. Fitting is 20 with no power grid requirements. And prerequisites is energy grid upgrades to level 2. That's a very standard one. You'll see that required a lot. Just so you can see the descriptions, that way if I didn't make any sense, you can at least have this read to you, because for me, having it read out loud does help. That's why I do that. Monitors and optimizes the power grid. Gives a slight boost to the power core output and a minor increase in shields. I'm terrible at reading this out loud. A minor increase in shields and capacitor recharge rate. And because I butchered that, I'm going to read that again, mostly for self-satisfaction. Monitors and optimizes the power grid. Gives a slight boost to power core output and a minor increase to shields and capacitor recharge rate. So there you have it. I think that's also a pretty fair description. I say fair description because some of the descriptions tell you what it does, but it doesn't really make it clear. So I think that's about it for the shield equipment. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, so that's 402. That's on shields. I hope to upload this soon, and let's see how long it takes for me to stop talking and just put it into the renderizer. And yeah, so thanks for watching. I hope this helped, and I hope this series is kind of helping you guys. I'm actually kind of excited to do this again. I missed you guys. I missed my subscribers, and well, I guess I already said it, but I really hope this helps. So see ya.